Once you finally realized what's been really going on, you have some new choices to make. Let's talk about it.
The Narc Ninja, bringing you the tools and tactics to heal and deal with users and abusers. And now the Narc Ninja himself, Christopher Fairchild.
By the way, welcome back to the Narc Ninja channel, bringing you tried and true, tested and approved, road-tested tactics to deal and heal from narcissistic abuse. And if you're new, welcome. Welcome aboard. Today I want to share with you 3 ways I have come up with within my healing journey that have become treasures to my peace. These are victories. The first victory I want to talk about today is something I call putting them on probation. About halfway through what was just over 10 years of healing, growing, and learning about abuse dynamics and how we survivors can overcome and embrace true healing, I joined a group led by a very charismatic husband and wife, and they just seemed so wonderful to me. And yet there was just a few things that sort of stuck out as subtle red flags, I guess you could say. I remember coming home from one of the early meetings and telling my son how much I was just really, enjoying being a part of this new group, but that this time, instead of being naive, like I have historically done, and just given myself away to people who hadn't really earned that from me, I said, you know, kiddo, this time I think I am going to be putting them on probation in my heart. Intellectually, it was all just great, but my gut, my intuition sensed that this time I needed to be wary and hold off a bit. Not listening to my gut has been a problem in the past, and as you may have guessed, it just doesn't really always work out for me as a healthy choice. I was sort of giving myself away, only to later find out that I'd been duped or used and then discarded by a highly narcissistic and manipulative person, all in the name of just wanting so much to fit in and belong. And I just would be left heartbroken and maybe even a little bit traumatized by this, but not this time. The Bible says, not to get really biblical here, but it says many times for us to guard our hearts. In Proverbs 4:23, for instance, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Advice I hadn't been very good at taking. Well, several months later, I started to see those little red flag warnings I talk about here on this channel, and it started to make it clearer to me that these ultra charming people were in fact highly narcissistic, and it culminated in being completely gaslit by them. Something very upsetting was said to me privately by one of them, and the next day when I shared with them about how it had left me feeling that a promise that had been made, I feel had been reneged on, I was told flat out that that never happened and that they had never said those terribly upsetting words the day before. And that in fact, I had offended them in even thinking they could utter such a thing. Yep, pure gaslighting on steroids. At this point in my life, any gaslighting crap is just a deal breaker, full stop. So I had to step down from a leadership position I had been given and just go no NC, no contact. But not only with the group leaders, but with the group itself, which is, the awful part of going no contact. I remember sort of bracing myself to have that old feeling of having been betrayed and lied to, of having stepped away from yet another toxic situation. And as the days rolled on, it dawned on me, I didn't feel heartbroken, not this time. In fact, I was oddly neutral. I wasn't even really upset about it that much, so much as I was thankful to have learned the truth before I'd gotten down the road any further. There was indifference. There was this new indifference and groundedness, and just simply deciding to put them on probation in my heart, I had in fact managed to guard my heart. I think for the very first time. It was my very first victory on my healing path toward this new life I now live. The 2 big takeaways here are, number 1, I trusted my gut instead of what I usually did before, and wait for hard evidence. And there was, the fact that I was, dealing with these adorable, funny, charming narcissists. But in the meantime, I had just made this quiet choice to just sort of pull myself back and maintain a powerful boundary of no contact. I wasn't devastated or really even that upset. One and done. That was huge. Don't you love it when life teaches you about who you are becoming in your healing and evolution? It's so great. Someone I had become quite close with said something just horrible about the LGBTQA plus community, and it felt like a horror film moment. It was so out of the blue to who I thought this person was, and I remembered every word, of course. It was so upsetting. I went home the next day and I sent a formal letter of resignation from that leadership position, and also sent this person a personal message, a somewhat emotional email about how saddened I was by what she had said. No more than 15 minutes later, I received a scolding response with many disrespectful, indignant, self-righteous, all caps, dressing downs. But here's the clincher. She flat out denied that she said exactly what she had just said the day before. In fact, she was even offended, as I had said earlier, that I would ever even imply such a terrible thing. Now, I get it. Sometimes all of us can, misunderstand what somebody said or remember it wrong. This was not the case. Nope. It was pure crazy-making gaslighting and such a hyper-aggressive, angry, disrespectful, and nasty response that, I was actually thankful. It was clear I had to go no contact right then and there. And, I learned now, if you gaslight me once, I will not give you a second chance to do it. And that's a badass Narc Ninja boss victory. Another victory I want to share is a little thing I call forgiveness. In fact, I just released a video you may know about that's just dedicated to that subject. I know there's loads of people on here on the tubes warning us not to, because they think forgiveness is all about maybe being a doormat and letting the jerks off the hook from their misdeeds. And that's not the brand of forgiveness I advocate for here. No, I will never let go of any of my healthy boundaries, such as breaking no contact. I hate being on the, because I hate being on the outs with someone, especially of the jackass variety. I'm about the kind of forgiveness that is not even about the aforementioned jackass. It's about you. It's about letting go of that understandable resentment in your heart that keeps that unhealthy conversation alive. It's about surrendering and accepting that the past can never be changed and making your peace with that fact. Side benefit, and yet one more victory from this, is it cures the disease of rumination about the abuse. It pulls it just all out of your personal space and lets you put it in the rear view mirror. It's about reminding yourself that unlike the narc, who may not have the motivation or even the ability to change or to let go of any grudges, you do have that power. You have the power to choose again. And you do have that power of rethinking some unhealthy thinking. You get to continue to blossom and heal beautifully while the narcissist is pretty much stuck being them forever. Making your peace with your powerlessness to change an unchangeable past leads me to that third victory of the day, and that is because you chose to let go of your old, useless resentments and forgive the past for being broken, because you choose healthy, empowered forgiveness, you can now stop ruminating over how unfair it all was. What you wished you'd have said, or how you wished you'd had some control over that smear campaign that was led against you, whatever. Leave that perception and image management crap to the narcs. They can't embrace the peace of radical acceptance. But you can. We don't have to follow every crappy thought that falls on top of our heads down to the first pit of hell. We can choose what thoughts to entertain and what thoughts We need to just cast into the nothingness from which they came. So those are my 3 victories so far in overcoming the pain of narcissistic abuse. What are yours? Please share something that has worked for you with the rest of us in the comments below. Also, let me know if there's a video you would like me to make or any question that you have. Look, I hope this was helpful. If so, please subscribe. It really does help my channel grow so that others can see, more people can see these videos. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with me today. Now, go be you to the full. Namaste.